So here's a couple of things that it's worth developing habits around. The first is, one of the things that we know about consistent supercommunicators, people who do this on a regular basis, is that they tend to ask more questions than the average person, like 10 to 20 times as many questions. And some of those questions you don't even clock as questions, because they say things like, oh, what'd you think about that? Or, what happened next? They're basically inviting you into the conversation. But some of the questions that they're asking are what are known within psychology as deep questions. And a deep question is something that asks about your values or your beliefs or your experiences, which can sound super intimidating if I tell you have to do that, except that it's as simple as like, if you meet someone who's a doctor, instead of saying, oh, what hospital do you work at? Asking them, oh, what made you decide to go to medical school? Like, why'd you go? Right? That second question, you all know, when you're asked that second question, what you're really asking someone is like, who are you? Who do you care about? Tell me about what your values are. Tell me about what your experiences are. And what happens when we ask a question like that is it triggers what's known as the vulnerability instinct. And we tend to misunderstand what vulnerability is. Vulnerability is something very specific in psychology. When I say something to you that you could judge, it causes me to feel vulnerable. Now, I might not care about your judgment. I might tell you that I think Star Trek is better than Star Wars. And you think I'm an idiot for thinking that. But I don't care, it's not important. But by telling you something you could judge, if you don't judge me, and in fact, if you tell me something I could judge in return, we cannot help but trust each other a little bit more. It's baked into our neurology. It's the social reciprocity that's at the core of prosociality. And so when I ask a deep question, what I'm doing is I'm inviting someone, I'm giving them an opportunity to say something I could judge. And if I withhold that judgment, we like each other more, we trust each other more, we're more persuaded by each other, despite all the things we might have in differences.